So this video is going to cover the revision booklet 2 on the calculator side, which is mean from a frequency table, estimating the mean from a grouped frequency table, and Venn diagrams. So I'm going to start by doing the starters and we'll move on from that. So first question is factorize x squared plus 4x minus 21 and hence solve x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. So we've done quite a lot of these in class. I'll write the question out. X squared plus 4x minus 21. And when it says hence solve x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0, all they mean is use the answer here from factorizing to then solve this question. So we do PSF, which is product, sum and factor. So two numbers that make a product of minus 21, two numbers that make a sum of the middle number, which is plus 4, two numbers that make minus 21 plus 4. One's got to be a positive, one's got to be a negative, to multiply together to make a negative answer. And that is, it's got to be 7 and 3. We're going to have plus 7 and minus 3, because 7 take away 3 is 4, positive 4. So inside the brackets we're going to have x plus 7, x minus 3. And now we've factorized, because we put it back in we put it into brackets, we can then solve for when this equation equals 0. So if this equals 0, either this bracket is 0 or this bracket is 0, because 0 times something or something times 0 will always give us 0. So if this equals 0, if x plus 7 equals 0, x equals minus 7, or if x minus 3 equals 0, x equals plus 3, or just 3. Question 2 on the start is very similar. Factorize x squared minus 9x plus 18 and then solve for when that equals 0. So I'll just write a little bit below this. So x squared minus 9x plus 18. We've got to factorize this. So we do PSF again, product, sum, factor. So two numbers made a product of 18, which make a sum of minus 9. Two numbers that do that, it's going to be 6 and 3. We'll have to be minus 6 and minus 3, because we want a negative sum. We're going to have to use two negative numbers if we want a product of a positive answer. So we can't get a positive 18 and use two positive answers to get minus 9 added up. So we'd have to use two negative numbers. So in the bracket, x minus 6 bracket, and then x minus 3. And now that we've got that, we've been told to solve for when this equals 0. So either x equals 6 or x equals 3. Question 3 on the starter is the nth term of a sequence of numbers is n squared plus 6. Write down the first 3 terms of the sequence. So we've got to work out the first 3 terms, which is the first term will be n equals 1, and then the second term n will be 2, and third term n will be 3. So if we draw a table out, it can help us a little bit easier. When n is 1, we're going to have 1 squared plus 6. So 1 squared is 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 squared is 4 plus 6 is 10. And then 3 squared is 9 plus 6 is 15. So the first 3 terms is 7, 10 and 15. Question 4 on the starter is the nth term of a sequence of numbers is 2n squared minus 5. Write down the first 3 terms of the sequence. Almost identical to question 3, but for the actual nth term. So we'll draw this out. We've got n has to be 1, 2, and 3 to work out the first, second, and third term. So it's going to be 2n squared minus 5. I think that's right. Yep. So 1 squared is 1 times by 2 is 2, take away 5 is minus 3. 2 squared is 4 times by 2 is 8, take away 5 is 3. 3 squared is 9 times by 2 is 18, take away 5 is 13. Yeah, that's right. So the first three terms are minus 3, 3, and 13. Question 5 is write 225 as a product of prime factors in index form. So we have 225, is that the number? Yeah, 225. So we split it off into prime factor tree. And I know 5 goes into 225. We've got to work out 5 times something is going to be 225. So that's going to be, let me work that out. It's going to be, I think it's 45. I'm not sure. It's going to be 4 on card 2. Yeah, 45. And then 45 we split off into 5 and 9, and 9 is 3 squared, so 3 and 3. So 225 is 5 times 5 times 3 times 3, but that's not in index form. To get the extra mark we need to put it in index form, so that'll be 5 squared times 3 squared, because it's 5 times 5 which is 5 squared, and then 3 times 3 which is 6a is write 300 as a product of prime factors in index form. So we do the same as question 5. It's going to be 300. That's going to be 2 and 150. And then 2 and 75. That's going to be 5 times, I think it's 15. Yeah, 15. And then 3 times 5. So we've got 300 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 5, which is 2 squared times 3 times 5 squared. Because you've got 5 times 5, which is 5 squared, 3 on its own, which is just times by 3, and then 2 times 2, which is 2 squared. Now we've got 6b, which says given that 120 is 2 cubed times 3 times 5, find the highest common factor of 120 and 300. So 6a and 6b are obviously linked because we've got the highest common factor of 120 and 300. And we know what 300 is in index form as a product of prime factors, and we've obviously just been given 120. So what I'll do, I'll write them both down. 120 is 2 cubed times 3 times 5, and 300 is, let me go back to the last page, 2 squared times 3 times 5 squared. I think that's right, yeah. So, highest common factor, we have to make a Venn diagram. There are other ways, but probably the best way is to make a Venn diagram. And the highest common factor is what's going to be in the middle of the Venn diagram, multiplied together. So, what's common in both 120 and 300 is 2 squared. And 3, because 3 is in both, and then just one set of 5 as well. So the highest common factor, which we're able to know, is the middle part of the Venn diagram. So it's 2 squared times 3 times 5. So the highest common factor is that, which is 4 times 3 times 5. 4 times 3 is 12, times by 5 is 60. So the highest common factor is 60. Number 7 is Ellie, Dylan and Millie share £900 in a ratio of 5, 4 and 9. 5 to 4 to 9. How much do they each receive? So they've got £900 split between 5, 4 and 9. I'll do this nice and quick. Ratios are a strong part of this class. So 5 add 4 is 9, add 9 is 18 parts. So there are 18 parts to share. So each one part is going to be 900 divided by 18, which is £50, I think. I think that's right, so it's £50. So one part's £50. But Ellie receives 5 parts, so Ellie receives 5 times 50, which is going to be £250. Dylan receives 4 times 50, which is going to be £200. And Millie, right, Millie here, receives 9 times 50, which is £450. If you add up all 3 parts, so Ellie, Dylan and Millie, it'll amount to £900, which means we've done the question correctly. The final question on the starters is: volunteers decide to give to 3 charities in the ratio 6 to 5 to 9. If the volunteers raised a total of £7,000, how much would each charity receive? So it's very similar to question 7, but it's just worded a little differently with different numbers. So we've got £7,000 split between 3 charities at a ratio of 6 to 5 to 9. So that is 20 parts. One part is 7,000 divided by 20 parts, which is £350. So charity 1 is going to get 6 times 350. So I'll do on a calculator. 6 times 350 is £2,100. Charity 2 gets, the ratio is 5, so 5 parts. Is £1,750, and charity 3 gets 9 lots of 350, which is 3,150. So that's all the starters completed now.